Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Holy Saturday for you other Italian Catholics out there, or whatever your religious persuasion is or isn't. It is a high holy day for some of us. Tomorrow being Easter, the resurrection, the whole bit. I don't do politics and religion on the show on purpose, so that's all we'll say about that. Let me say, though, that there is an immense amount of energy around this weekend of renewal and rebirth and resurrection and, starting over and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great time to capture that energy in your own, whatever you're in the middle of. For those of us Catholics, it's been Lent, which has been, or I think Christians, I'm not sure who believes in Lent or goes along with Lent, but it's been 40 days for people that say the rosary like myself, it's been 40 days of the same set of mysteries that will make sense to some of you and won't mean a thing to the rest of you. However, I am excited for tomorrow. To me, it is always a marking point, a line in the sand, um, you know, just between the winter is now over and the first quarter is now over, and we're partially into the second quarter, and it's just a time to renew, resurrect, rebirth, rejuvenation, all of those things. So I encourage you to capture that energy in your own way. The energy of spring, the energy of new beginnings. And the energy of spring, by the way, is like a slipping, sliding thing, right? Like here in Vermont, one day it's 70, the next day it's 20, then it's 30, then it's raining, then it's snowing. And every day we never know what we're going to get. This morning it's like 58 degrees, but it's raining. Yesterday it was sunny for like 15 minutes, I feel like. It's probably more like an hour or 2 hours, but it didn't last very long. So you really have to be your own, you have to give yourself your own enthusiasm when the weather is like this, and you have to just make it up as you go along. So this morning I wanted to talk about a couple of things. I posted something this week on the page about, watching what people do and not listening to what they say. And I've spoken about this before. For those of you that don't know me, if you're catching the show live, we have a lot more people watching the show all of a sudden. As you know, the page has 1.4 million followers, I think. So you never know who may catch the show. So if you want to know more about me, I've been here for 10 years plus now. There is a link trailing along the bottom. And if you click that, you can get to all the things. You can book a strategy session with me. You can buy my new book, which is here. You can download free resources. You can visit my website. You can listen to the audio of the show. And I am doing a free masterclass. I set it for 75 people. There are 7 seats left. So we have, I think, 68 people as of this morning in that masterclass on May 14th. So if you're not in and you want to get in, you better hurry up to the link in the bottom and then click the thing that says register for the free masterclass. Okay, commercial over. When we interact with other people, by the way, strategy is required in everything. You ought to have a strategy for how you handle relationships, for how you handle your finances, for how you handle your life, for what you're doing in your business. Strategy is not a term for just business people. Strategy means I have a plan, I have a direction, I have action steps, and I'm going there. That's what a strategy is. Think blueprint, right? I always say to you guys, you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint. You wouldn't build it without the plans, nor ought you to do anything in your life without some kind of a plan, some kind of a strategy. Hence the working strategist moniker for me now for the rest of my life. When you interact with others, right? Often we meet people, or we know people, or we even have people in our life that we love, and it is a holiday tomorrow, so some of you may be getting to see family members and people that you either love or don't, and you have to go see them anyway. So when we have people in our lives, they say things and then they do things, right? And lots of times we listen to what they say even though what they're doing is not lining up with what they say. And then we hope and pray and wish that they would become someone who operates like they say they're going to. And instead, they keep doing what they always do, and we keep expecting something different. So they say they love you, or they say they'll stop drinking, or they say they will exercise, or they'll take care of themselves, or they'll show up on time, or they'll pull their weight in your work situation, or whatever it is. They always say something that sounds really good. And then those of us that are wise watch what they do. If you have a congruent person in your life, congruent, by the way, means everything lines up all the way down. So it means what's coming out of my pie hole is what I'm doing in my life. And that is one of the things that makes me different than a lot of other things that are out there. Because for those of you that know me and have been to my home, or you've encountered me in a public setting or at a class I've taught, you can easily see and learn about me that what I am funneling out my pie hole is exactly what I'm living in my own life. Otherwise, my work wouldn't hold up. Okay? So lots of times in life, people say one thing and do another. What I want to encourage you to start doing is really watching actions. Actions are patterns. Patterns will tell you what is likely to come next. Now, this isn't to say that somebody can't change their behavior. You and I both know that without concerted effort and action and a strategy for change, it's very difficult to change behavior. So just because someone wishes and hopes that they will change their behavior, or they tell you they want to change, or they're sorry, or they're going to do better, or whatever they're saying, I want you to start looking over here and seeing what they're doing. That's going to tell you everything that you need to know. They actually don't have to say a word to you. You can just watch how they show up in their lives or don't show up. This always gets me because people will meet new people, and the new people have excellent rhetoric, right? They say all the right things. They look the part. They tell you what you want to hear. If you are wise, you inquire, you ask questions, and you look at their life. You watch how they show up. You watch how responsive they are to texts and emails. That's huge, by the way. That's a huge one for me because I respond to stuff like almost immediately, emails and texts. That's just me. It's the way I was raised. It's probably because I've been in charge of so many businesses my whole life, different businesses for different clients, that I don't have the luxury of not responding. So I am just someone that responds. I also respond personally to my own email. I don't let any assistant or anybody do that. I want to see what people are saying to me. When you watch how people are showing up, how responsive they are, what they're doing in their own life, how they present themselves in public, what their car looks like, how they behave in front of waiters and waitresses, how they speak about other people. Like that tells you a lot. That really tells you everything that you need to know. So I encourage you to become a student of human nature, right? Because when you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to have the best life that you can, you have to remember that who you surround yourself with dictates a lot of how things will go for you. Because if you surround yourself with people that are negative, complaining, and like a dark cloud, it's very hard to get on a positive track or continue to monitor your own behavior or even to make change. This is why it's so important who you yoke yourself with in a partnership, business and personal. Because if you connect yourself energetically and financially and everything else to the wrong type of a person, it can really tank how far you can go in life. Honest to God, you've got to be careful. That is like the most important choice that you will ever make. Someone that you do business with or someone that you have a romantic alliance with, right? Also, whom you want to take for a client or a student, okay? Because that takes up your energy. So when you take a client that isn't committed to doing anything different, so they'll give you a lot of lip service, but when you check in with them about their results and where they've gotten from week to week and they have no result, hello, that's telling you something about them. A few years ago, probably 5 years ago now, maybe, when I really started leading a couple of companies that had more people in them, and I wanted to make sure that I understood everything that I could and did it as correctly as I could. That led to me taking, I think now it's 7 or 8 certificates that I hold from Harvard Business School online. I'm about to take another one on creating, what is it called? Creating brand value. I'm about to start that one, which I'm really excited about. It starts next week because, as you know, part of what I teach strategy and is branding and marketing. So I always like to be polishing skills. Anyway, I digress. When I really started getting interested in studying behavior, I heard of this tool called DISC, which is a personality assessment. So I went and spent the thousands of dollars to become a licensed partner of DISC, which my firm is. And so I am allowed to give the DISC assessment to people. And then I am also a John Maxwell trained certified speaker, trainer, and coach for John Maxwell. And I took the DISC certification from them. So I am actually dually certified in DISC. I'm certified by John Maxwell to train and teach in DISC, and I'm certified by Wiley DISC. Anyway, DISC is a personality assessment. And what it tells you is like where you're resting. You know, your resting heart rate is like the rate when you're just sitting, and that's your set point before you like exert yourself, right? Well, DISC in my mind is like that. It's able to show me where a person is sitting and what type of person they are when they're just being themselves. One of the things that DISC teaches is that we all have all of the avenues of DISC in us, and we are all capable, of stretching into the different quadrants. So there's basically 4 quarters, right? There's a dominant personality, influential, steady, and conscientious. Okay. So you have like the top half here, which is more outgoing. And then the bottom half is a little less outgoing. So for instance, your C people that have a C style of personality are like more analytical, more cautious, more conscientious. D style is more results driven, dominant, challenge, action. Influence is your outgoing, encouraging person, enthusiastic, more collaborating, more accepting. And the steadiness is support, receptive. They kind of like to be in the background doing the same type of things over and over again. So why I mention this is because what it taught me is that everyone is different, right? I mean, you would think, Noelle, you're almost 60 years old. Hello, you should know everyone is different. But I'll tell you what, from years of being an entrepreneur, I didn't think that everyone was like me, but I honest to God expected that people would sort of operate like me. And a lot of you probably do that too. Like you just think like, oh, people will respond like I do, or they'll operate like I do. So however you operate, you sort of expect that from someone else, right? Well, guess what? That's not how it works. So what the beauty of DISC was that it taught me, how my personality was by the way, depending on which assessment, because I can give different assessments, like a workplace or a leadership. So there's different ways to do the assessment, which is adaptive, by the way, which I like. The John Maxwell assessment, they use a different system, and it's like a fill in the blank, but I like the Wiley disc system because it's adaptive. You go online and you take the assessment, and depending on the answer to your question, it formulates the next question. So it really pinpoints, your style of behavior. I am a DI or an ID, depending on which one I take. So dominant and influence, which makes sense because I'm very driven, but I also care very much about people, and I am enthusiastic, and I want to uplift people. So what I learned was that, people that fall in the C and the S and even heavy into the I, they're not as results driven, and they do things differently. So some people, for instance, need time to process. Me, if I have a problem with you, I'm picking up the phone, I'm telling you what that is, and we're moving on. Okay. Some people have to send an email, or they send a text, or whatever, right? And they want to get their thoughts down on paper before they have a conversation. Or some people are shy, and they shy away rather from a confrontive conversation, which I don't understand, because that's like, I've been so well trained in communication for 3 decades now that I don't even understand being afraid of a confrontive conversation, because I look at that as an opportunity to move something forward and to break down a barrier and make a breakthrough. Right? But not all people see it like that. So the reason I'm bringing this up to you is because to understand our own style of behavior and assess and evaluate our own behavior, that shows us where we need to sort of grow and stretch as we relate to others, right? So that can really help you in your relationship with other people, in your work relationships, in, if you're a mom and you have to interact with other moms in a PTA setting, or a, fundraiser setting, or a sports team setting, it allows you to understand where you might have to pull back your personality a little bit, where you might overwhelm people, or where you might want to put yourself out a little bit more or stretch a little bit more. So it's really, as you create your own strategy for your personal relationships, and I do recommend that you create a strategy. And I recommend that the first part of your strategy is do your homework. Just like if you were going to pay someone thousands of dollars to do a service at your home, I would hope to God that you would get on the internet and do some digging and find out, what you could find out about that service provider, right? In the same way, when you meet somebody new, you want to do your due diligence with deciding where that person will fall in your life and how you will interact with them, right? And in that homework that you want to do, you want to be listening and watching. So I hear what you're saying, and then you want to look over here for the actions. My grandfather was he was something. Uh, Italian, Sicilian. He would say, when I was younger, kids, right? We're always trying to explain our way out of stuff. And he would look at me deadpan, and he would say, I hear what you're saying. I know you're lying, but I believe you. I do. I believe you. And, it was impossible to just keep a straight face with him when he was saying that. And then you ended up coming clean, because how could you not? But it's like that. It's like people are giving you lip service over here, and you're like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Meanwhile, I'm not an idiot. I'm looking over here to see what you're doing. I'm seeing if, when you make an appointment with me, do you show up? When you make an appointment with me, do you always reschedule? When you roll up to the restaurant to meet me in your hoopty, when you open the door and all the trash falls out, yet you want to lead me to believe that you are a person to be taken seriously in your work, it's hard for me to do that. It's hard for me to take you seriously when you open your car and I can see all the garbage in there that you're too lazy to throw away, right? Or you invite somebody into your home and you go into someone's home and you can't even get down the entryway because there's so much clutter and stuff. Like, it's not that any of that is bad or wrong. It's like, be wise. Understand what you're dealing with. Don't get yourself all locked into somebody before you really understand what's over there. I have a couple of clients that are serial entrepreneurs. They have millions of dollars in businesses, different business endeavors. One of them is from the UK. And he works, every time he brings someone into his world, he has me run a disc assessment on them. Because I've already done one on him. That's part of our work together, right? So I ran a disc on him when he initially hired me. He's been my client for almost 2 years now. So when he initially hired me to run a disc on him and on two people that he was thinking about getting into partnership with. And he was in business with one person already. So I ran a disc on everybody. And we discovered that a lot of the things that he was expecting from the people that he was in business with, he was probably not going to get in the way that he thought, because they were complete opposites of him. So prior to looking into all that, he was just feeling frustrated and aggravated because he wasn't getting the results that he wanted. When he understood the people that he was interacting with, he was able to change his expectation and also the way that he was operating with them. He was able to clean up his communication and give, deliverables and checkpoints and different things. So it just allows you to really understand what's over there and how to align your expectations with that, right? Don't just meet somebody romantically or otherwise and be like, oh, blah, blah. Remember that old cartoon, that big lady, and she would see a man and she would go, a man, and she would like, whew, she was gone. Don't be that lady. Don't do that, right? Somebody, man or woman or whatever, somebody comes in your space, they want to do business with you, or they want some of what you've got, or they want you to help them with something, or they want to be romantically involved with you, whatever. Do your due diligence, take your time, figure them out, get to know them. Even if it's a business relationship, we say, date them for a while, even if it's business, right? See how they behave. If you can get somebody out to a restaurant, it is an excellent way to see what kind of a person they really are. Honest to God. Because or go into a busy parking lot where there's a valet or somebody, a service person that's like super overwhelmed, and see how the person that you're with treats the service staff. That will tell you everything you need to know about a person. Somebody that's shitty to service staff is, honest to God, not somebody that you want to be involved with. Probably there's a good portion of us that waited tables and did all kinds of other stuff at some time in our lives. And we know what it's like to be on the other side. And some of you may even still be doing that work. So don't ever think that you are better than anyone else. And don't ever discount or be rude to anybody, because you never know. You don't know what you don't know. And if you are a good person and you want to be part of the solution in this world, then you will be looking to see how you can be part of the solution everywhere that you go, not just in your own environment when it benefits you. Be somebody that shows people that there are good people in the world. That's your assignment for the week, should you choose to accept it. Be somebody that goes out of their way to show people that there are good people in the world, doing good things for others and helping other people. And be smart about the people that you're putting in your life. Don't be an idiot. Don't be an asshole. Pay attention. Watch what people are doing. Watch how they show up. Don't just listen to what they say. Everybody will give you rhetoric. Watch the actions. See who they surround themselves with. See how much drama follows them around wherever they go. Pay attention. Pay attention. Okay. I'm going to leave you guys. I'm going over to my son's gym. We have some company in town for Easter. Antonio's running some evaluations for his kids over at the gym. So we're going to go watch a little bit of that. I hope that you have a blessed and wonderful Easter Sunday tomorrow. I hope that you will use the energy of this weekend to push yourself forward in some way. Check the link scrolling along the bottom. That link is also in my Instagram bio and it is in the Facebook bio. That is my master link, the Linktree link. It can get you to all the things. You can buy the book. You can sign up for the free masterclass. You can book a strategy session with me that has a disc eval with it. I also opened up for 12 people only a summer strategy lab, where if you have a business or a side hustle, or you want to start one, or you have a project that you are not moving forward on and you really want to move your ass, you should sign up for the strategy lab. It is going to be 6 sessions, plus you get a free disc eval and a free appointment with me to go over your disc. That's all part of that summer strategy lab. So only accepting 12 people into that, going to work really closely with 12 people over the summer. I think it's 3 sessions in June, 1 in July, and 2 in August. And it will definitely move you or your business forward if that's what you're about. But don't come there with complaints or reasons why it's not working. That I'm not your girl. If that's your MO, to complain. Results or no results, right? All right. Have a great weekend. See you soon.